Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report. Mitchell Renz here, ready to go through the latest news around the silver and black. And it's actually news that concerns me a little bit, and it's regarding the Green Bay Packers are currently actively pursuing Raiders star tight end Darren Waller. Now, this has come out from a few people from the Packers insider side. I haven't really seen too much information on the Raiders insider side, however, but it is going to be something that I monitor very, very closely. And for some of you being like, wait, really? Darren Waller trade? This has definitely been a topic that I've brought up multiple times on the Raiders Report. And if you go back 2 months ago, I released a video, potential Raiders trade candidates. The top guy on that list was, in fact, Darren Waller. Does he have 2 years left on his contract? Yes. However, since Waller hired a brand new agent, there's been some rocky waters. Now, I do want to make this very, very clear. Just because the Packers are pursuing Waller doesn't mean a trade is going to get done. This may be surprising for a lot of people out there. A lot of NFL teams would probably want a top 3 tight end in Darren. So just because I'm making this video doesn't mean that a deal is going to get done. But a topic that I have brought up multiple times here on this show is it shouldn't be such a wild thing to think about where if it does go down, it shouldn't surprise too many people. Yes, it's going to suck losing one of the best tight ends in the National Football League, but you have to imagine if the Raiders, Josh McDaniels, Dave Ziegler, do not view Darren Waller as the long-term option at tight end, he is 29, about to turn 30 years old, then okay, maybe you decide to go ahead and get what you can for him. So what you're going to be seeing here on today's show is a few trade ideas that I have heard that the Green Bay Packers have offered for Darren Waller, and if anything else happens, we'll keep you up to date. But I want you guys to go down in the comment section right now and let me know why for yes and for no. If the Packers offered the Raiders a first-round pick, and remember, Green Bay's got 22 overall, which we gave them in the Davante Adams trade, and also the 28th overall pick. I don't see them getting 22, but let's just say the Packers offer the Raiders the 28th overall pick for Darren Waller. Do you do it? Why for yes and for no? The reason why I'm going to go ahead and still type my N for no, I get the idea of having a first-round pick, and I understand that there's a lot of value there. I get that Dave Ziegler and Josh McDaniels have talked about wanting to try to get up into the first round. The reason why I'm not going to do it is for a multitude of reasons. One, Darren Waller is one of the best tight ends in all of football, and this offense is going to use a 2 tight end set, and I want Derek Carr to be able to have that option. We need DC to go out and ball out and show that he's one of the better quarterbacks in the National Football League. So that's reason one. Reason two, I feel like first-round picks are the old Family Guy skit where you can either have a boat or you can have the mystery box. I know Darren Waller is a speedboat. Can you get maybe a better player at 28? Sure, maybe. But you know what? Darren Waller works pretty damn well right now, and at his current value of contract, which is going to be $7 million this year and $7 million next year, you do not trade him for anything less than a first-round pick if you're the Raiders. And if they do end up making a deal, I am going to go live, and it's going to be a lot different look than what I am dealing with right now. I'm at home chilling with Alex. Chuck's over here. Hopefully you don't hear anything squeaking in the background. But if the deal actually goes down, I'm running to the studio. We're going to film. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you turn on those notifications. I should also mention, I'm going to be live for all 7 rounds. All day, all 3 days, every pick, 263 of them. I'm going to be live on the Raiders Report breaking down the 2022 NFL Draft. And speaking of the draft, apparently, according to some of these reports, it does sound like the Packers are trying to get the deal done before the NFL Draft. So the draft starts at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Thursday, April 28th. And if a deal ends up going down, it's going to be a pretty wild one. So I trust a few people out there, and I started messaging some people. So if you see another video before mine, I'm sorry. But what I'm hearing right now is the Raiders are being offered a 2nd and a 5th round pick for Darren Waller. It's a pretty good value, and I know that Ziegler wants to try to get back up there into the 2nd round. Ziegler talked about it weeks ago when they were regarding the whole Davante Adams trade. And a lot of people out there are probably like, okay, well, if the Packers are interested in trading for Waller, why didn't they just do it during the Davante Adams deal? And it's a very good question. They couldn't. So the reason why they couldn't is because Davante Adams was a tagged player. You can't trade a tagged player for a non-tagged player. So apparently, this has been in the works, and this has been in talks since going all the way back to when the Davante Adams deal ended up going down. And Rich Bisaccia, you got to remember, new special teams coach over there in Green Bay. They need as many options as you can possibly have at receiver. Yes, Waller is a tight end, but let's be real. He definitely works like a wide receiver, and he would probably be the best option in that Green Bay Packers offense. The other reason why I definitely think that there is some smoke to these Darren Waller trade rumors is, look what the Raiders are doing in their pre-draft 30 visits. And this has been another thing that I've brought up, and I see people down in the comments, Raiders are never going to trade Darren Waller. This offseason, man, has proved me anything's possible. And if rumors are coming out from credible people on Green Bay's side, and now you're starting to see it picked up on social media as much as it has been, there's definitely going to be some validity. Now, I have recently said just the past week, the fact that Waller showed up to voluntary workouts, it's a good sign. I like that Waller showed up. I like that he was prepared and here and there. So how about this? Go down to the comment section right now and give me your one-word reaction to, if you wake up tomorrow morning, I go live on the Raiders Report and I break down the Darren Waller trade. If all you see is the notification, Raiders trade Darren Waller, what would be your one-word reaction? Go ahead and let me know. My one-word reaction would be WTF, because it would fit the exact whole thing that we've seen this entire offseason. I'll also go ahead and say the Raiders have properly prepared as well as they possibly could have this entire offseason. So in terms of their pre-draft visits, you get 30 of them. The Raiders, James Mitchell, tight end from Virginia Tech. Isaiah Likely, tight end from Coastal Carolina. Cade Otton from Washington. Amani Rodgers from Ohio. Greg Dulcich from UCLA. And then Jelani Woods from Virginia. So you're talking about 6 out of 30. So 20% of the players that the Raiders brought in were tight ends. And a few of those are guys that I anticipate going in round 3, potentially round 4. So the Raiders are doing their homework. And I also know that Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler are very high on Foster Moreau. In fact, the Patriots once or twice actually tried to trade for Foster Moreau a few seasons ago because his nickname was Baby Gronk, because there is a little bit of upside when it comes to Foster. Are you going to be able to replace Darren Waller? No. You're not going to be able to. I'm sorry, you're not going to be able to. At least none of those tight ends that I just mentioned, and I love Foster, but that's not what's going to happen in terms of replacing Waller. I do think that the Raiders end up keeping Darren this season, and the next season is definitely the more likely option in terms of a trade. I talked about last week a report that came out from Vic Tafur, where Vic also said that he doesn't think that the Raiders move on from Waller this year, but he doesn't think that the Raiders will have Waller in 2023. When I hear stuff like that from Vic, means things are happening. There's people inside the locker room. There's people inside of the Raiders organization that are at least picking up the phone. They're making some calls. When you see multiple credible people out there on the internet citing a few things, you got to at least think about it. And the fact that the Green Bay Packers and the first 2 rounds have the 22nd, the 28th, the 53rd, the 59th, and the first, 3 days, and then 92, those are a lot of picks that I know Ziegler would be interested in. But in terms of just the first 2 rounds, you got 2 firsts, you got 2 seconds. If Green Bay wants to make something happen, they can absolutely go ahead and do it. And if you're the Raiders, you got a draft in Vegas, I'm sure you're going to want to go ahead and have a little bit of a splash as well. So in terms of why I'm making this video, there are some reports out there that the Packers are actively pursuing Raiders star tight end Darren Waller. I will mention one more time that the Raiders at this current moment have not made any announcements. They have not made any indications. I haven't heard anything that they are going to trade him. All it sounds like is Green Bay's interested. They're doing their due diligence, and the Raiders are listening. It's okay for you to listen. If you're a general manager and you don't listen to offers, you're not doing your job. So just because you're answering the phone, it's not a bad thing. Now, the other reason why this is going to continue to get brought up is because of money, right? Money talks. And if you're the Raiders, if you're Darren Waller, you're his agent, you're like, all right, well, you just paid Max Crosby a lot of money. He deserved it. You just gave Davante Adams a hefty contract. Great player. Derek Carr, if he performs well, going to be making some good money. DC wants them to extend Hunter Renfrow. Okay, and this is a topic that I talked about last week, and I feel like I've already said that like 5 times here on today's show. But you could have a situation where Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler are deciding, do you extend Darren Waller, or do you give that money and then you go ahead and you give that to Hunter Renfrow and Foster Moreau, right? It's a very interesting situation that we're going to be dealing with here, and I get the idea of making Waller one of the highest paid tight ends in the league. And when I look at Mark Andrews, when I think about Dallas Goedert, Travis Kelce, George Kittle, those are your top 4 highest paid tight ends. Darren Waller deserves to be in that conversation, and you can make a legitimate argument when you look at a lot of Darren Waller's numbers over the past, let's say, 3 seasons. Yes, last year he had only 55 grabs, 665 yards, and 2 touchdowns, but he still averaged over 60 yards per game when he was actually healthy. 2020, 107 grabs, 1,196 yards, 9 touchdowns. The year before that, 90 grabs, 1,145 yards, 3 touchdowns. Darren Waller wants to get paid more like a wide receiver, and I would agree with that. He is built like a receiver. He can be that number 1 guy in an offense. So for anybody out there like, oh, I don't want to pay Darren Waller $16 million a year, make him the highest paid tight end in the league, I'm sorry, you're crazy to me. If the NFL, not only is it a crazy offseason, but you can make money work. You can move money around. The New Orleans Saints were minus $76 million in cap when the year started. Now they're plus 30. Why? You can move money. So people are like, oh, the Raiders aren't going to have enough money for Darren Waller. It's bullshit. You can make money happen when it comes to the salary cap. You can make money appear when you need to by either restructuring contracts or not overpaying other people on your roster. So if it really comes down to it, the Raiders want to, they can keep Darren Waller. And as far as I'm concerned, they better well freaking do it because, again, you can get draft picks, but those draft picks aren't guaranteed to be anything. And this is a win-now Raiders team that you want to go ahead and get rid of one of your best players, a guy that the fans absolutely love, somebody who just shows up to work and does everything that a Raider is supposed to do. Man, I just will not understand that move. So if it happens, I'll be depressed. But the only way it does end up happening is if Waller doesn't want to play, his agents aren't going to let him play, and he said, hey, either give me a new contract or I'm out. I hope that's not the case because Waller showed up to voluntary workouts last week or 2 weeks ago. But here we are, man. Speaking of which, the Raiders did start voluntary minicamp today, and it was really, really cool to see a lot of those players out there on the field. You know, Josh McDaniels rocking his visor, and I am extremely, extremely excited for this season, and I'm really hoping that Darren Waller's on the team. So we just talked about money, okay? If Darren Waller says, hey, I want to be a top 4 highest paid tight end, if I want to be the highest paid tight end in the league, it's about $16 million per year, would you do it? So here's going to be probably my last question. If you were the Raiders, would you pay Darren Waller? I want you to go down to the comments section and type P for pay, or I want you to go ahead and type D for don't. I am, of course, going to type my P for pay. You know you're going to run 2 tight end sets. You know Derek Carr loves tight ends. Sounds kind of weird, but you know he likes playing with good pass catchers as well. And who wouldn't? And if you're going to move on from him, you're just going to put more pressure on a guy like Foster. I don't know if he's ready to step up. You're going to put more pressure on Bryan Edwards. I don't know if he's ready to step up. If you have an offense of Davante Adams, Hunter Renfrow, Darren Waller, I mean, that's one of the best trios in the entire league. So, God, Raiders, hang on to Waller this year, and then we can deal with all this stuff going into next year because I will say, next year, moving on from Waller, that one is like not a half a just win, baby. I think that one's 2 just win, baby. So we'll get to that bridge when it needs to happen, but at this current moment, all I am giving you is the latest. There is a report out there from a legitimate Packers source that says that they are trying to trade for Darren Waller before the 2022 NFL Draft. If anything happens, I'll keep you guys up to date. We'll walk through everything if it does go down, but you do have to consider the fact that teams are interested in him. There have been some interesting rumors around Waller. I am still going to be in the camp that the Raiders hang on to him for this season, and then you're going to have to go ahead and revisit some of this next year, or, and I hope this isn't the case, or you could potentially see Darren Waller name start to be popped up again at the NFL trade deadline in November if the Raiders are out of the playoff hunt. I hope that's not the case, but we will keep you up to date here. Enjoy the rest of your Monday. I appreciate everyone tuning in, from Alex, from Chuck, and me. Enjoy the rest of your day, and go Raiders. All right, y'all, if you made it this far in the video, we're doing something right around here. To see more videos from the Raiders Report, go ahead and click this button over here. If you want even more content from us, well, hey, there's going to be a box right over here. You go ahead and smash that. And to make sure that you stay up to date, news, rumors, free agency, draft, everything going on around the Silver and Black. We're the #1 most watched Raiders channel on YouTube for a reason. So go ahead and click the sub button right here.